Give us a sense of what you're doing besides incorporating companies, because you're really trying to build out with small businesses and tech and things like that.
Yeah, so that is the area where we're most known as the preferred place to incorporate a business, and it is the best place to incorporate, mostly because of our Chancery Court and the corporate bar that's such an important part of that sector in our state. But we're branching out. We have a very strong financial services sector and have had for the last 20 or so years, maybe 30 or 35,000 employees. Those companies increasingly are IT companies. You know, I had a meeting with the leaders of Capital One and a town hall meeting with their employees, and they described their company as an IT company disguised as a bank. So we're building and developing an IT workforce that would be useful for our financial services industry as well as for tech startups, and at the same time, we're working on our science and technology-based company. Obviously, Delaware has been the home of the DuPont company for over 200 years. They've merged with Dow. That merger is going to result in 3 spin-off companies, 2 of which will be headquartered in our state. We see real opportunities there at the experimental station, which is a campus that has developed innovations for over 100 years. We've got a partnership with the University of Delaware and Dow DuPont to have co-working space there for scientists. So we're building that innovation economy. We're building on our financial services economy, which is fundamentally about attracting tech workers to our state. And today, if you're going to attract those kinds of that kind of a workforce, you have to have an interesting and exciting place to live. And we're building on that as well, particularly strengthening the city of Wilmington and the central business district there, which is the commercial center of our state.
President Trump has made growth and jobs a hallmark of his administration. And in the last 5 years, Delaware has added quite a few jobs, and your unemployment is down 4% or something like that. Where did those jobs come from?
So we have, it's affected a broad sector across a section of our economy, a lot of financial services jobs. JP Morgan Chase has over 10,000 employees in our state now. Several thousand of those came over the last couple years. We've solidified some of the other companies like Barclays and Capital One that I mentioned that are located there. Insight, which is a bioscience pharmaceutical company, started at DuPont Pharmaceutical. Now they have 500 employees, and they're going to double to 1,000 employees. So some really good growth in our employment base across sectors. We also have a growing healthcare sector, as most states do. That's kind of a mixed blessing to a certain extent. And also higher education and startup companies in Newark at the University of Delaware.
One of the things we know is that governors and mayors tend to try to get the job done. And although you may belong to a party, partisanship has to take second rank. When you look at President Trump, is he helping you or hurting you? Recognize you're just trying to get the job done.
Yeah, well, I focus my work on the state of Delaware. We have a great tradition of Democrats and Republicans, no matter whether the governor was a Democrat or Republican, working together, particularly on economic development issues. I was able to get both Democrats and Republicans to support creating a public-private partnership around economic development. We call that the Delaware Prosperity Partnership. I chair it, co-chair it with an executive from Corporate Services Corporation, and we've got private sector representatives, members of the General Assembly, Democrats and Republicans working together to improve the economic climate in the state of Delaware. There are issues that happen in Washington, D.C. that are negatively affecting us. The tariff and some of these battles around international trade are negatively affecting our agricultural community. And just the idea that Democrats and Republicans are at each other's throats all the time doesn't help the political climate in our state as well. And as I said, we've always prided ourselves in what we call the Delaware way, which is Delaware Democrats and Republicans working together at the end of the day for the betterment of our state.
One thing that seems to be growing, and I'm curious about how much is growing, is sports betting. I mean, I saw a picture of you taking a $10 bill and putting it down.
Yeah, I won that bet, by the way. I haven't cashed my ticket, but I bet on the Phillies. You know, I'm a long-term Phillies fan, and at that time broke their losing streak. I think they didn't end the season very well, but we've been doing pretty well.
Yeah, how's it going? Is it going as well as you thought it would? Not quite as much?
A little bit better than we expected, actually. It's not gangbusters, just because the margins in some of those bets are tighter. But the long-term scenario is there's going to be sports betting in New Jersey. They've already approved it in Pennsylvania and Maryland as well. And we're small. We compete for business in the sports betting, in our casino betting as well with those other states. We've seen it before where those revenues went up strongly for us, and then the competition brought it down the other side. So my main message to legislators and others, let's be cautious about our expectations going forward on sports betting.
Let's talk about the midterms, specifically with respect to governorships, because it's been the book, basically, that the Democrats haven't paid too much attention some years to governorships. This year they seem to be. What are the prospects for Democrats taking more state houses?
Yeah, I think the prospects are very strong for Democrats across the country to win elections for governor this election season. I know a number of those, some of which were colleagues in my House of Representatives. States like Minnesota, other states in the Midwest are competitive. We have competitive candidates in places like Georgia and some of the border states. So I think there are real opportunities for us there. We don't have as many governorships as we'd like. And so picking up some in the midterms would be really important for our party across the country.
You have a favorite son in Delaware named Joe Biden, and he's not in the midterms, but there's some talk about him for 2020. Is he going to run? Do you think he should run?
I don't know. He'd make a great president. I worked for him years ago. We were with him this weekend, and his lovely wife, Dr. Jill Biden. She christened the latest USS Delaware, which is a Virginia-class nuclear attack submarine down in Newport News, Virginia. It was a great event. The vice president was there the night before supporting his wife. Joe Biden would make a great president of the United States, that's for sure.